ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਦਾਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੈ। ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਸਾਰੀ ਬਸਤੀ ਆਖੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Some of you, so today Das has been asked just to do a very short amount of kata, and we apologise obviously as well on the behalf of Basics of Sikhi that to be here today. So Das was actually coming to listen as well to Basics of Sikhi. Very amazing organisation that started a long time ago and has been blessing the Sangat all over the world doing kata in English. So especially the young generation can try and understand what this path is and take up the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. So I've got a PowerPoint presentation here, and the question we have at the beginning is why we need the path of Sikhi. Now sometimes we ask ourselves that question as well, what is the need for this path? And you get many youngsters as well even asking their parents that what is the point of this path, why do we need it? Because there's so many other religions as well that are out there. There's so many people that have not also got a religion as well. There's so many people that don't believe in anything, but yet they're still happy in their lives. They've got a good job, they earn a lot of money, they've got a big house, they've got a family, and they're pretty much happy. But in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Guru Sahib tells us that each and every individual person has a void inside them, something that's missing. And that thing that is missing is the connection between you and God, and it can never be fulfilled by anything else. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much materialistic things that you have in this world, they will only make you happy for a certain amount of time. But when that thing leaves, it's most likely you won't be happy. If you had a beautiful car, for example, you were quite rich, you had a Ferrari, you had a Lamborghini. If you lost that car and you have to downgrade just to an Audi, a BMW, or pretty even more basic than that, a Vauxhall or Ford, you might become a little bit unhappy because you had more and now you've got less. You might have had a big house and you had to sell that for whatever reason, maybe because you lost your job, and you have to downgrade that to just a basic 2-3 bedroom house. You have to question yourself and ask yourself, how would you feel? Because when you start to connect to this path of Sikhi, when you start to connect to the Guru installs so much peace, tranquility and happiness inside your life, that even if you do lose these things, these materialistic things, and not just them, even if you were to lose your child, even if you were to lose your mother or your father, you would still be content and you'd still be happy. And we'll go through one of the slides today that shows and replicates that happened in our history, that we can see for proof as well, that there was people out there that were Sikhs and they were still happy even when they lost their own blood. So that question again, why do we need the path of Sikhi? For those people that watch the news a lot or even read the newspapers as well, suicide, the World Health Organization has said 720,000 deaths per year take place just by suicide. So it shows you in this statistics that people are not happy with their lives, otherwise why would they take it away? In the United Kingdom where we're living today, Mental Health Foundation, 74% of adults is stressed. So imagine these calculations are being done on a massive scale. And that doesn't mean that every single person in the world has signed up to do these statistics and put down their answer. So it could be even more than this. But this is the amount of people that have been tracked, that 74% of adults are actually stressed. So they've got things going on in their life that they're worried about, that they can't deal with. They're suffering from anxiety, and overall they're stressed. And being stressed is one of the biggest killers in the world. There's quite a lot of information on this, and I've only got another few slides of this, and then we'll go into a little bit more of our history as well. So drug use, which is becoming bigger as the years go on. More and more people are starting to take drugs from a young age. In the year ending in March 2023, which was just over a year ago, an estimated of 9.5% of people aged between the age of 16 and 59. Approximately 3.1 million people reported using drugs in the last 12 months. 7.6 reported using cannabis, around 2.5 million people, and 3.3 reported using Class A drugs, around 1.1 million people. If you look at the figures here, it's in the millions, people that are starting to use drugs. Now, when you look at these statistics about people taking drugs, about taking away their life, part of the reason is, if you were to speak to these people and say, what is it that you've got, that you're missing from your life? What is it that you want? Most people will just say, I want to be happy. I want peace in my life. And as we listen to the Bani or Sukhmani Sahib part, just at the beginning there, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says, Simaro, Simara, Simara, Sukha Pavo. You don't even need to go on to the next line of that. Simaro means to remember, Simara, Simara, again to remember the oneness. Sukha Pavo, that you obtain sukh, you obtain that peace just by remembering. Now, remembering God doesn't always just mean that you have to come to the Gurdwara on a Sunday. Remembering can be anywhere. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're at school, whether you're at university, whether you're at work. No matter where you are in the world, you can remember Waheguru, you can remember God. And remembering God doesn't mean, for example, you have to say Waheguru, you have to do Mool Mantra, you have to read Sukhmani Sahib Path, you have to do Japji Sahib Path. Remembering also means having a conversation with somebody that is connecting you to God. So if you were speaking to one of your colleagues one of the days at work, and you went into a conversation about God, about the oneness, about the Creator, about the truth, you're remembering God. And it's the same thing that we're doing now. Sometimes people think when you do Katha and come to the Guru Ghar and you're listening to somebody talking and Vichar and Gurbani that you're not remembering God. You actually are. The definition of Simran means reference, remembering. And as we said, remembering comes in many different forms, remembering the one. Because in Gurbani, Maharaj says that we should sing Kirtan day and night. And if you look at your own life, who goes into work and who's doing Kirtan all day? Because obviously you have to communicate with your bosses, you have to communicate with your colleagues, you've got tasks to do throughout the day. So it's very difficult to just be singing Kirtan. But if you're remembering within your consciousness, within your mind, you're remembering God, that is you connecting to God. And it doesn't matter what stage you are at in your life, whether you've got your case or whether you've cut your case, you can still remember God. It doesn't make you anything lower than somebody else. However, if we go towards the path of the Guru will show us our true form. And when you start to develop that love from inside, that love will flourish on the outside. When you start to build up that pyar and you have love for the Guru, then automatically your mind will start to change and you'll say, you know what, I no longer want to cut the case. I no longer want to do these bad deeds. Because ultimately, when we look at cutting the case, when we look at doing many different other barbs or whatever it is that we're doing in our life, it's a root of evil that we're looking at. If you're changing the way that the One has created you, it's only because of your ego. And I'm not saying it's easy. When I was younger, I used to have cupcakes as well, so I never judge anybody. I never ever go up to anybody, even if they have cut their case, to say, you know what, you should go and grow your case. Because I used to be in that position myself when I was younger. But the love has to come from yourself. The truth has to come from yourself. You have to be willing to do it. Whether you're at that stage in your life that you actually take drugs, whether it's cannabis, whether it's alcohol, antidepressant drugs, you have to be the one to say to yourself that I want to stop. Because you can come to the Guru Ghar, many people will try and speak to you, try and encourage you, but really you have to say to yourself, you know what, I'm addicted. Maybe it's something I need to do. There's a doctor called Sanja Steibel on the 17th of July 2024. In 2021, 40% of children aged between the age of 11 and 15 reported that they had an alcoholic drink at some point in their life. Somebody between the age of 11 and 15, people are consuming alcohol. Most children who had an alcoholic drink obtained the alcohol from their parents. So, as you can even see in this report, that a lot of parents are allowing their children to actually consume alcohol, to consume drugs. Most children who had the alcoholic drink obtained from the alcohol with their parents, 75%, and consumed it with their parents, 67% friends, 52% of other relatives, and 38% one alcoholic specific condition were responsible for 320,082 hospital admissions in England in 2022-2023, a rate of 581 per 100,000 population. Just over 2/3, 69% of these admissions related to male patients. There were 10,048 alcoholic specific deaths in the UK in 2022. Alcoholic liver disease was the most common cause, accounting for 77% of alcohol specific deaths. Somebody, if you look at the amount of people that are dying from consuming alcohol, sometimes we question, why do people sit on stage in the Guru Ghar and question about alcohol? Guru Sahib gives us that mat, that understanding that it isn't something that we should obtain and put inside our body because it destroys our body. If you look online now, if you look even just on the board with these statistics, you can see how many people are dying from having alcohol, how many people are dying from drug use. It's not that it's a positive thing that people are doing. People are doing a very negative thing in their life, and it's impacting their body. It's also impacting their families. Amongst the Sangha, there will be people in their families that cause so many issues through drugs and alcohol, just from consuming it. Even though they feel that it's taken away the pressure, it's taken away their issues, it's also causing issues within their own parvars. If your children are seeing you drinking alcohol, if your children are seeing you taking drugs, it's not going to be long before they start to try and test it themselves. And it's a proven fact that children do become just like their parents. When we look at our own children, and I've got little children as well, their DNA is inside us, and the same attributes, the same qualities that we've got in our lives, they take them on as they get older. And sometimes we look at them and we think, how come we've got so much anger inside us? And then we look at our children and you can see that that anger is passed on to them as well. So just within a few minutes, Das is going to finish off. Bhagat Faridi says, Frida, Gore da palakar, gussa manna handai, dei rogna lagi, palle sabke chupai. Bhagat Faridi, that's written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, says, answer evil with goodness, do not fill your mind with anger. Your body shall not suffer from any disease, and you shall obtain everything. So just by not becoming angry, Bhagat Faridi is saying that your body will not suffer from any disease and all your desires will be fulfilled.
Sangatji, it is very, very difficult to not become angry. If you look in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Guru Sahib talks about Krodh, one of the second bunch door, and it is not easy to overcome. But we can practice, especially for the older generation that are married. Practice with your partner and see if you can fight your anger. When you come to the Guru Ka, you can take something away, whether it's lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride. Take one thing and try and implement it in your life. See if you can go for 1 week without having an argument with your partner. And it's not easy. I'm married as well. So try for even a week to refrain from lust, from anger, from greed, from attachment, even to your children. And just this one thing I'm going to finish off with, as Das has only got a small amount of time. Me and Munno captured a lot of the Sikh women, and this is one of the points that I was talking about, that we can even lose our children, and yet within the Sikh Qawm, the Singhi are still proved to be happy and peaceful. In me and Munno's death camps, they had to grind flour all day. Sikh women would happily sing Shabads of Guru Nanak Dev Ji grinding the flour the whole day, but did not accept conversion to Islam as a condition for their freedom. So if they were to convert to Islam at this time, they would have been freed. Every woman was given 40 pounds of grain to grind for each day in jail, and none of them accepted Islam. None of them said that we would give up our own dharam, we would cut our case, and we would accept this religion. This happened in 1750, which is only a few hundred years ago. And just rounding this up, in this last picture, you can see these are the Singriya that are sitting there. And the Mughals that are standing at the back with spears, they would get the children. So if the Singhi had refused that they wouldn't accept Islam, that they wouldn't change their faith, they would get their children and they would throw them up in the air and they would put the spear through them. You can see just above the spear at the back, there's a child that's been thrown up in the air, and they would be speared and killed. Then after that, the children were actually cut up into pieces and made as garlands and put around their mothers' necks. That's how strong our dharam is. 1750, we had BPR like that, Singhiya like that in our Qawm, that were willing to give up their children. And the only reason that they were willing to give up everything for the Guru was because they knew that nothing belonged to them in the first place. They had that contentment, that happiness, that tranquility, that peace inside them. They had the Naam, the name of God inside them, and they were that brave and strong that they could do that. So forgive me for any mistakes. Das's time was very short. I did have a bit longer, but you shouldn't always obviously go over the Sama as well, as there's more people to speak. So forgive Das for any mistakes. Buddha, Sari Kachka Ko Vai Ki Ka